You say let our people go.
When do we want it?
Yeah.
What do we want?
Let our people go.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Let our people go.
When do we want it?
Now.
That's right.
Yeah, now.
All right, so we haven't, nobody from the media showed up, but we're going to be our own media. We're going to do a little recording. We had 30 people at the Parole Commission meeting this morning. It was really great. And we overflowed the room that they normally have the meeting in, so they had to take us to this other place downstairs. The commissioners, I feel, were very deterred by our presence.
Yep.
They were much more restrained than they had been at previous meetings. I don't know if you all heard, but in January there's some pretty egregious evidence that the commissioners are obstructing people's releases. And I think Chairman Tate is working on trying to address that, and I think us showing up in public has kind of bolstered those efforts. So it feels good. Does anybody want to make any comments? Jeremy, you want to talk about Representative Extra?
What do we want?
Let our people go.
When?
Now.
Let our people go.
Let our people go.
I want to say that I had a proud moment today for this hearing because we did force them to go to another room. And I feel that the chair felt supported today, and I think that he will be a little more bolder in the steps and the actions that he takes because he knows he's supported. It's a good day. It's a good day. And, you know, I say do not take our feet off the gas. We have to keep the pressure on, and we have to ensure that we start rolling people out of those institutions who have long been over their time as far as serving time. Old law is not truth in sentencing.
That's right.
And we have to get that message across throughout our communities. We have to educate individuals about what's going on in those Desmo Crips. And we have to fight, and we have to join together and fight for what is right for these individuals. You know, I know personally 4 or 5 people who are in minimum now and have been there for years and years. Minimum custody means community custody.
Yeah,
And they are going into the community working every day. But it seems DOC don't want to let go of that almost $800 a month rent that they're collecting from these individuals every month. Yes. And so we need to raise this up. And people need to be aware of what's going on inside Wisconsin prison system. It's been going on too long and has impacted too many people. What do we want?
Let our people go.
And when do we want it?
Now. Thank you. Now. Now.
All right. Does anybody else want to talk? Maybe about your experiences? You want to, Jenny, you want to read your letter?
It's going to be 4 minutes.
Sure.
If I read it.
Yeah, go for it. That's what we're here for. I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's a cold, cold day, so I'm glad to see that we're still here.
I have spent decades of my life supporting and encouraging an incarcerated loved one. Together with his family and friends, we have invested tens of thousands of dollars working towards parole and healing. We did this out of love and also believing that the parole eligibility had some meaning. We, along with many other families, have been disregarded and cruelly defrauded by a parole system that has lost perspective. When a board can't assert that someone who has been incarcerated for for between 25 or 40 years has not served enough time for punishment, it is very obvious that they have lost perspective. Sufficient time for punishment has a definition: parole eligibility, and it needs to be enforced administratively. All of the crimes associated with old law inmates are atrocious and have caused harm or death. As such, incarceration was necessary and warranted. That fact will not change after 100 years or 1,000 years. The question of parole asks, what has changed since? Has the punishment worked? Can the process of justice move forward? The present parole system continues to undermine the justice process by failing to act in good faith. Their failure to honor the intent and spirit of the old law under which judges handed down their sentences serves as a slap in the face to every person who trusted and invested in the healing process of justice. Legislatures wrote old law with an inherent understanding that parole eligibility was sufficient time for the punishment phase of a sentence. Ignoring this fact promotes injustice, which is the result of the parole board's present practices. Parole eligibility is a critical component of the sentence itself, and parole is the natural result when the justice process is successful. In fact, parole is a factor at every stage in the judicial process. 1. DAs, lawyers, and victims weigh parole eligibility while charging and negotiating. 2. Judges sentenced believing parole eligibility had meaning and offered incentive and hope to families and those sentenced. Judges had fashioned sentences hoping they would inspire change, healing, and justice. 3. The DOC set program access based on parole eligibility. 4. Loved ones have supported the process, believing that parole eligibility had a meaning. And number 5, all the educators and counselors and volunteers have dedicated their life's work believing that they were making a contribution to our community by helping the people prepare for parole. For me personally, I have invested tens of thousands of dollars, believing that I was building a future that included parole. Years after years, I've maintained a home, secured employment, set up education, and purchased clothing, believing the board would act in good faith. My hopes have been crushed 10 times in the last 10 years when their answer was not enough time for punishment. Another 12-month deeper. By stringing our hopes along for so many years, the parole board has acted in bad faith, and it is cruel. Very cruel. It's time for our government to hold this board accountable and restore integrity to the justice process. Tommy Thompson effectively thwarted the parole process in 1994 with a single memo, and that action created the crippled parole process that we are still suffering today.
That's right.
Let us demand Governor Evers issue an executive order asserting that sufficient time for punishment is satisfied by parole eligibility. That will be a step toward restoring integrity to the parole process. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So speaking of that memo, today at the meeting we heard another memo that Chairman Tate wrote saying, basically reversing, it sounded like reversing that 1994 memo. Back then, Tommy Thompson and DOC Secretary Sullivan built a conspiracy to hold people as long as they legally could. Like, that's what it says in the thing, that they would do everything they could to hold people as long as possible. And this new memo from John Tate is saying that he expects people to be prepared for release before they go to the parole. So not wait for the parole commissioners to ask for programming, but get people programming out at the beginning, so that when they come to the hearing, they're already prepared for release. he said that he's going to limit deferrals to 18 months. So instead of giving someone 2 years or more, their most they'll get is 18 months, and they won't default to less than that for everybody. And once you're down to only a 12 months deeper, they want you to be getting exit programming, like not just, you know, not the basic programming, but the stuff that prepares you for getting out on those streets. And that's, so if we can see those changes happening, it will improve things. We need to see an overhaul of the criteria. FFUP has put together a petition with currently incarcerated people under the old law that outlines what new criteria we want to see, that take out things like not enough time served and other like subjective measures, the things that involved what happened to somebody decades ago instead of who they are now as they go forward and prepare for release. So we're hoping to see some of those changes actually be enacted. Does anybody else want to contribute anything to this conversation? All right, well, we will be back here. It's the first Wednesday of every month, so we'll be back here on March 4th. Hopefully the weather will be a little bit nicer. The meeting starts at 9:30, and we'll have a rally as soon as they let us out and go to closed session. All right?
We support you, John Tate. We support
Yes,
you.
we support you, John
Yes.
Tate. Amen. Thank you.
What do we want?
Let our people go.
When do we want it?
Now. Now. Now.